working with APIs, and so we started working with APIs. I don't know how many people have actually, if you know you've started something, if you started something with APIs, just signify in the chat. Let me know if you've started playing around with it. Let me know. How many? I've seen Blessing. Is it only Blessing that's done something? Okay, so since that's the only person that responded, so we should actually just okay. Okay, Kafisan, Olatunbosun. Nah, sorry, I'm not pronouncing that name well. I need to learn my Yoruba well. Okay, okay, so that's nice. So we're going to continue from where we stopped last week, and then we will also look at something interesting. So we'll just take it up from there, and then we'll see how things go out. Okay, so let me share my screen. All right. Yeah. And I think for some reason my screen resolution it's quite big here. Is it large? Is it very big for you guys too? Are you seeing it normally? Or are the fonts too large? Okay, okay. So I think I'll try. I'll have to manage on my own end because it's looking too big for me. Okay, so and then for some reasons, sorry, give me a moment. Okay. Okay. So we're able to do this the last time, and I said let me try playing around with deletes yesterday, but this delete is very funny. It didn't work out well for me, but I'm still on it. Okay. So so let's look at what we did. So let me just go over what we did last week. I mean, on Tuesday. See me guys going back to last week. So we started working with Fetch. So we're looking at how to get posts using the JSON placeholder type codes. So um, so like I said, an API is like a waiter that communicates between front end and back end. So for you to access it, you use fetch. You can use fetch. When you go higher, there are other things you can use. You can use Axios. You can use a couple of other ways to get it. So, but for the moment now, we're using fetch. So what does fetch do? So like I said, fetch in its basic form is a GET request. So you have to start out with fetch, and then you pass in your URL. When you do that, you now have a dot then, which gets a response. So when this fetches it, it comes in a form, it gives you a response, and that response, you now need to convert it to JSON first. So it has to be in JSON format. Then from the JSON format now, you do another dot then to get the formats that you can use on your front end. So getting this, so I called mine data here, and then using that method, since what we get here, this data now, like we saw before, is an array. So since it's an array, that means I can do a for each on the array, and I can I can fix it up on my front end on my page. So which we were able to do last week. So I'm sure everybody's conversant with how to do. Let me remove this. So everybody's conversant with how to do all of this, how to do it for each, and then inject it into a particular section on your page, right? All right. So that. So that was fine. Then we also looked at creating posts. So let me open up my so I'll open my console. Everything is so big here. All right. So we looked at this on Tuesday. So I'll say breakfasts. Like okay. Hmm. All right. So when I do this, I have, so this is my response now. So it tells me that my post has been created successfully, and then it gives me all of this. So I have a post. So this is my body. This is the post body. Then, like I said earlier, we have up to 100. We have up to 100 posts here. So when you create another post, what this does, sorry about that. What this does is it says okay, we have 100. So that means the next one will have an ID. So recall that what Timmy told us was that we should do e.id here. So which is what we did, and we were able to get the IDs of all these posts. So that's why we have 100 posts. Now, when we create another post, it's supposed to add up here, but we've not fixed that up so that that works. So, okay. So what happens now is so we might have to try that. So what happens is that your
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so it seems Mr. Gochukwu is having some network issue. So let's just exercise a little bit patience. So we'll come back online soon.
You guys hear me? Hello?
Hello, I can
Yeah.
hear you.
Yeah, we
All right.
can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that. Internet is shit. All right. So I was saying something. So I don't know where you guys lost me here. So I was saying, you can see my screen? I believe so. So I was saying this prevent default. What does it do? Can somebody tell me in the chat or best? What does prevent default do?
It helps remove the default settings of the phone by not letting it to reload when you click submit.
All right, that's fine. So it prevents your page from reloading after you've submitted. So that's what basically happens. So if you recall, what we did the last time was, yeah. So what we did was we had to pick all. We had to select. Let me make this. So we had to select each of our inputs. So here now we have the title, which we gave an ID. We have the body, and then this. Then our form, we also gave it an ID, such that we had to select them here. So the post title, the post body, the post form, and then we added the event listener of submit, so that when you click on submit, this function runs, which is this. Then we did prevent default, and then we said we want to get the value of each input field. So getting the value now, I assigned it to p title and p body, so that when I'm doing my fetch and doing a post request, I now have to pass in. So for title now, I now have to pass in the p title, and then for body, I have to pass in this. Then if we were just generating the user ID, we could also have passed it in, but since we are just using something random, that's why we use 5 here. Then we passed in the headers, which defines the nature of our content type. So it's a JSON format, and then it has this character set. So when this happens, we have this response, which we now have to convert to JSON. And then we now do another dot then, which now gives us the data or what we can use on our front end. So when we do this, we are able to get this data now. Now, I was trying out something here. So I created this user post. So this user post is an empty array. And since what we are getting out from here, is uh, an array, so let's just try something out. So I'll just leave this. I'll come below here now. So I use the let. for that user post. So I will say user post. I want to assign this data that we are getting to user post. So I had already initialized it as an empty array. So that's why I'm just assigning this. You know, when you use when you use a single equals to, you're assigning it. So that means this is our variable user post. We're assigning it to data. So when we do this now, let me console this and see if it gives us what we want. Um, uh, sorry. Let's try again. We need to create, and then we need to, oh, sorry. We shouldn't assign this. Sorry, it's not an array. What comes out from here is not an array. It's an object rather. And where's my mouse going to? So let's hold off here first. So let's do two things. So let's just console log user posts. So this user post, so I did something so that we will not get confused where user post is coming from. So when we are getting posts now, I initialize this here, and then inside where we are getting posts, you know that this data is an array. So I assigned it to user posts. So that means when this page loads, and then we get the array of posts, we now put it into this user post array. So for now, let me comment this one first. That means whatever data that we get from getting posts is inside this user post. So we need to see if that works in this section. So before we now, so when we create, we need to see. So we're expecting two things here now. So we're expecting this. So because this create post won't work until we click on submit, on this submit. So this thing won't run. So that's why we're expecting two things. When we click on create post, we're expecting it to show this post, this data, which is what we get from submitting our form. And then we're also expecting this user post. And I have user post in two places. So we're expecting user posts, which is supposed to be all the posts. And then we're expecting this. So let's just see if that works for us. So like they said, JavaScript can be tricky sometimes. So let's just try it out. So I'll just pick something random. I'm lazy to type. So, like I said, so we have two things here. So we have the posts, which is coming out with this. Then we have this array of objects, which is the same thing as when you're getting posts. So we need to be able to use this to now display a new item on this page. I am soaking I am kneeling down to pray. Let this work. Okay. So, can we hear me? Hello?
We can hear you. I can hear you.
All right. With the way things are fluctuating now, I don't know when I'll be off and on, but it's all right. Okay, so So since we've confirmed that inside user posts now, we have the arrays. Now, what do you guys think? So we get an object here, and we need this object to be inside this user post. What do you think we should do? We need it to be part of this user post. What should we do? You can unmute and speak. You can type it in the chat. Yeah. What do you think? Does anybody have an idea? We need this data, whatever is coming from creating a post to be inside this user post, and know that this user post is an array now. So we need this inside this. How do we make it work? We can add it to the array. How do we add it to the array? I want it to be interactive. So we do the same thing we do for get. Why do we have to use concat? If you okay, see, okay, I don't want maybe don't need to. Okay, just I need somebody to if you know what, yeah, you can just unmute and speak. Let's just discuss.
Hello?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I think what we'll do is we will do the same thing we did for the get fetch, which is trying to target
Yes.
the ID in the same ID we targeted for the first one. But now we are not using for each because it's only one item we are adding.
Okay, but
So
I don't agree with that.
instead of using, okay, so we just use data since we use user post for the first one, for the first response.
Okay.
So we use
So
data then.
yes. Okay. Well, let's just hear from another person. Gomina, I think I want to hear your own end of this. Hello, Gomina, are you there? Well, I don't know, Gomina, I'm expecting to hear from you. I've seen something interesting. You posted something. Just explain what your thoughts are. Gomina Miriam. Even best. Can you explain your thought process? Yes. I don't know why Gomina doesn't want to talk.
Okay, I was thinking since we already have an existing array that we got from the what we call API, so we can use push to just add our array since we've already changed it to we've already turned it to array. We can use it to just add it to the existing one. I was thinking,
Chicken. You're actually right. Now that's what you're meant to do. You're supposed to push it into the existing array. I don't know why Gomina, you pay fine, no? You know all this now, you don't want to say it. Or I don't know. So yeah, that's basically what we'll do. Since you have an array, what you need to do is you need to push it. So what do I write? How do I do that? How do you add to an array? Somebody should. Okay, user post dot push. Okay, what am I pushing? Nice. Oh, we need to do a meetup. right, so user post dot push this. So I want to now, so let me bring back this my, some people think we should do a meetup. I like what I'm saying, chat. All right, so we do this. So let's see. So let's try again. But that means we need to, this is funny, we need to create this post every time. So you see now, so we have 101 now. So it actually works. Let me see this array. Ouch. Oh, okay. Okay. Body, this. So we have this now. So we have 100, we have 101 in this our array now. So with this now, I think, yeah, 0 to 100. Yes. But you know that it's actually that arrays are 0 index. We have so we have this. So we have this, and then we have this 100 here. I don't know, they are not on the same level, but yeah, that's fine. So what we need to do now, we need to still inject it the same way we did. Let me believe that this would work again. So I'm going to bring this our post layout, and I'll put it here. And then I will bring this let HTML up to this point. I hope we're not confused with what I'm doing. So I'm still doing the same thing that we did earlier, but I want, okay, so user posts, which is our new user post now. Then for each, then we are doing this. So let's just try it out. So let's see if that works. I just hope it works. So did it work? So if you understand, sorry, let me, I'm coming. So if you understand how to use arrays and a couple of things, there are things that you can just do without you can just use your array methods and fix up a couple of things. So you just need to understand. Okay, so I will explain what happened. But the thing is, you just need to understand how array works. You need to understand some methods generally, and based on that, you will be able to fix up some things. Okay, so let me go back and show us what we actually did. So back to this point, I think we understand how we created this post and got up to this data. So what we now did was we now said, okay, since when we are getting these posts here, what I did was, I didn't do this the last time, Sha, but what I did was I created an array, an empty array, and I called it user posts. Then I'm now saying, when I get this data, when I get this data, assign it to this empty array so that it is no longer an empty array. This was just me initializing it. So when I got this array, I pushed it into this user post. So this our user post is no longer empty. It has 100 items inside it already. So when I came here now, what I did was, after creating this post, after creating it now, I console logged this just to know what we have already and know if our user post is actually empty or if it has something inside it. Seeing that it already had the 100 items, the the option there that was left to do was us pushing this response. So I said this data now, what comes when you create, what comes out is an object. So that object now, you need to also push it inside this user post. Like you know that this our here, our array is our array consists of so our array consists of objects. So we have this, we have this, we have this. So our array just consists uh, of objects. So since the response that we are getting here is an object, so what we did was push it into this array using the push method. And then the next thing that we did was we now had to bring in what we did for our get post. So since this populates it for you, so this one also is meant to populate these new arrays because it's a new array that we are getting here now. When you push this into this, we now have 101 items inside here. So let me remove this. 101 items. So when this happens now, I still need to display it on my page. So that's why this now happens. And I'm able to display it on my page. Hope we understand. Do you understand? So let's just let's try it out. No, I hope that doesn't go. Okay, let's just do another post and see if this just does at once. So okay, so so there's a limit to what we can actually do with this because so let me explain something. There's how this thing works. The reason why we cannot add more than one is because we are not storing this somewhere. We are not saving this, or it doesn't allow us to add this to our own to their own work. So like I was saying the last time, if they allow us to be able to tamper with what they already have, then probably would have been seeing funny things because a lot of people try out their hands with this API. So what you can only do now is you can only add one. You can't add multiple. So I think 101 is where you can stop for now. And this, once I reload this page, you don't see this again because it's not stored here. So, but if I'm doing something like, if I'm using maybe local storage or something, this probably will just continue. It will keep appending and appending it because it's saving it somewhere. But currently now, the thing is when you reload this page, this wipes off. So the thing with creating posts is it's more like you're getting that post again. You're reloading it and rerunning the. So let me just do it again. So we see. Wow, why am I doing this? So let's just try this. Oh, okay. So I think it actually does, but that's because we did not reload this page. So it's just preserving this state. I think it's increasing. So if you don't reload this page, if I reload this page, everything about this thing goes off. But because I didn't reload it and I just kept on adding and adding posts. So if I keep doing this, it adds up. So I have 103. So it keeps adding up on this page. But the thing is, we are not storing this somewhere. So that's why we see itself. You see, it keeps pushing it. You see the problem now. So because you're not adding this, so this thing is just faking it. Yeah, the ID is still the same. So it's still what I'm explaining. So what this does is it creates this post. It creates the post, but it just adds it at the end of, because you cannot tamper with what they already have. You can only add one. So this one is just faking it. Okay, I'm just pushing it. So this, we have 100. Okay, we create another post. You did not reload the page. Yes. So I can only give you an ID of 101 just to show. But the thing is, I cannot allow you to tamper with what I already have. You cannot add it to what is already there. So it's just adding this for, this is just temporary. It just keeps pushing and pushing and pushing. It's just push that is working here. So all of these are just being pushed into this and they just stay there. But this ID, so let's see here now. So this ID still remains the same because you cannot tamper with their own. So this is what just happens here. But the thing is, when you're working with actual APIs, when you're working with actual APIs that your back end, you have the power to actually update, delete. But this one is because it's a test API. That's why you cannot tamper with their own work. But when you're working with your own from your own back end, from a back end person, you have that right to actually do that. And when you save, it actually saves it so that when you're populating it again or displaying it on your page, it gives you actual data that you've saved. So that is what happens there. So there's something that there's something that Sunday thought about now. So what if we use on shift? What happens here? So let's just look at that. So we did push here. So what if we do on shift? So we are doing on shift here. So let me reload this just to be sure. And then I do this. And then I just write random stuff. And I do this. So best Sunday, are you satisfied? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right. So Sunday, I've this has proven what you thought. So when you use on shift, depending, it's an array. So whatever you tell it to do, that's what it will do. So that's how it works. All right. So the next thing we need to look at is we've looked at we've looked at we've looked at creating. So let's try updating a post. So this is updating. Okay. So updating. So I'm getting this. Sorry. Uh, come back to my VS Code. So update posts. Okay, so this is update posts. Now, the funny thing about so when you want to update a post, what you basically do is you say so you need to go to a particular post because you're not updating the entire post. So updating post has to select a particular post. So I think I need a button to be able to do this. So I'll create another button here. I'll call this update. So if we get confused, let me remove this for now. And instead of danger, I'll have maybe warning. Let's see what our page looks like. Sorry, I'm believing that you guys understand Bootstrap, but that's why I'm doing this. Okay, something is not right here. So I have delete. Okay, this should not be here, sorry. So when I get a post, I need it. This is great. So this is get. So I want another button to be on my form or to be in my form section so that so I want another button to be on my form so that if I want to update the post, I am able to do that directly. So I am removing this on click for now. So I'm putting it in my get request because my get request gets all my posts and populates how I want my page to be. So that's why I'm putting it here. So I'm doing warning. What's the color for warning, sir? For those that know Bootstrap. What's the color for warning? Okay. Okay, some people have been doing their assignment. Okay, so this is it. I think I need to give it margin so that it doesn't join. And I need to change my, so margin top of 4. I need to change this to update. So I will do okay, so let's see what we have now. So we have this. Okay. So I'm still thinking this out. Okay, so let's look at what update does now. So let's come back to our, so this is update. So when you want to update a post, you need to use a method of put. So put is basically for updating a post. So what this does is it says take the inputs, from this. Yeah, it says take the inputs from this, and then update this particular post. So that's why we are targeting this. Okay. So we'll go easy on this one. So we need to get the inputs from the user, what the user wants to update. And then we now use it to update our own posts. So for this one now, so this is like, let's just go through this. So this body is the same like when you're creating a post, because you have to type out what you want. So let's say for instance, so this is posts, and we want to change the first item. So we say let it be food. Sorry. So this is just a string that we're using for now. And then we're saying body can just be art. And then, so I'll change this to data just to maintain our own convention. It can be any name of your choosing. Okay, so console.log data. So we need this. So let me just put this function. So update post, I'm going to put it on this button. So I'm bringing back this our on click. This button. So on click, we want to update posts. So this is just, I hope this works. So this is just this happening. So when we click on that button, we want this function to run. So let's see if it actually happens. So we are here. Nothing happened. Okay. So let's just check. So there's something that we've actually been missing. So should that be here? So there's supposed to be a catch block. So then here, there's supposed to be a catch block so that in case you have an error or something, you need to be able to also display what that error is. So this is E. So let's just console.log. I don't know why this is not working, but probably we need to do this. So let's see. So when I click here now, okay, so we have this now. So for our first item now, that means what this says is if you're updating a particular item, so that means if we are trying to display it on our page, that means if it's a title, the title here should have changed to food, and then the body, if we were changing the body alone, the body would change to this. So this can be quite tricky. So this is what happens. You get an object after doing this. That's what I'm going to do now. It's not going to be a perfect solution, but I think it's something we can just try to use. So here now we gave this a class of post title, and we have a class of post body. So let's say so when we get this now, when we get this data, I was thinking of populating it. Okay, this is what is going to happen. But the thing is, if we populate it, if we say we are trying to populate it, I don't think that will be accurate. We need to look into this properly. So let's try something out. So let's just say so let's post. So I'll just say my post title. Equals to so let's just pick document. Why did you choose that? Okay, so get element. So let's just So let's do by ID share. That means I need to give that one an ID. So let's just do this. So this is get. So let me give this my post title and ID. An ID of my post title. Okay, so let's just see what comes out from here. Sure. So sorry. So this is supposed to be a string. Okay. So my post title get element by this is this. So we are now saying so we are assigning this to this, and then we're now saying my post title dot inner HTML is equals to. So let's confirm something. So 153 now 153. Okay, so sorry, I'm supposed to close this up. Okay, so here now, I think this is where the problem is. Okay, so let's see what we got the last time. Okay, so I said when we click on this, so we have this. This is what we get. So now we have an ID, we have a title, we have a body. So what we are trying to change is the ID now. So let's just say data.id. Let's see if that works. I doubt it works. Oh, okay, so it actually does work. A bit, does it? Hello, can we hear me? Okay, so this should not be the ID, it should be the title rather. So let's see what we have now. So I click on update, and this changes to food. So that means if we assign IDs to the other one, but what you should still remember is that this, when you reload your page, this actually goes off. So where is this other one? So body. So this body now, let's just give it an ID too, so that we see. People understand what happened yesterday. I'll explain later, Sha. So my post body. Praise people that actually come up with content, so it's not easy. So my post body, yeah. So when we come to our function now, so if we're able to do that one, so that means we can also do same for our post body. My post body. And then this is my post body. All right. So we also do this CD. So that means this will also change to body. So let's try it out. But if what you will notice is that what we are doing is not even dynamic in any way. It's just, so see what happened here. So we're able to update this, but what we are doing is not dynamic. Why is it not dynamic? We are passing in, we are not taking in inputs from, we are not taking in input from the user. What we are passing is what is already on our own input field. So if you see now, this is what is passing here. And then this, we're not getting it from our user. Same thing goes for even our ID here. Okay, yes, we are doing for ID 1. Okay, so it knows that that is what we are doing for. But what if we want to make this dynamic? So we need to work out that now. Let me just think about this. So on our button here, we have user posts. So in user posts now, sorry, update posts, we need to pass in the ID so that our post knows which one is editing. If I do this, I'm passing in the ID. So you see the same way we are displaying this, so we are passing in this ID. So that means if I do that up there, I need to pass in a parameter here. So I will say user, or sorry, post ID. Post ID. So I need to know what my post ID is. So I'm console logging here. So I also console log. Should I do it before doing my fetch? Okay. So post ID. So let me just bring this up first. So we see what we are passing. So let's see how dynamic this gets. So we are here now. Say for instance, I click on this. So you see an ID of 2. This is ID of 2. I click on this. So an ID of 3. So this is what happens. So we're able to see, we're able to pass in the ID of this into our function. That's why we passed it as parameters into that function. That's why you're able to see this number. But now, so this is what happens. So each time we click, this is the only one that keeps changing. Reason being that if we come back here, this is the number that this thing is looking out for, and it keeps updating this. If I change this to 2 now, and I come and click, Yes. So blessing, we can actually do that. So that's what we're trying to do. So what happened is when I click here now, so this still comes up as one. Why is that? Sorry. So post of two. Hmm. Sorry, let me confirm something. Hmm. So what is happening is it's still affecting this one. It's still affecting the first item. I think it's because it's picking the first ID. It's you can't have okay. Let me try something. So an ID, that's why an ID is usually specific. Ah, sorry, let me try something else. A class name. So ID is usually specific. The thing is when it comes to a page and it looks for an ID, it it picks up the first item. So, uh, so this is post title, and post body. Those are my classes: post title, post body. So let's just try something out. Okay, so let's just try something out. Is there a way to set the post to select? Uh, Blessing, just unmute and say what you have in mind. Maybe I'm not getting the picture clearly.
Yes, sir. What I'm trying to ask is, at the back where we are selecting each post, is it possible at the end of that post, instead of putting a number there, can we put an end value so that it will be whatever ID? Like we already set the ID. The ID is still currently one. If we remove it from one and we set it to maybe the one that the user is currently on, I don't know if that is possible.
Is it okay? Yeah, so I get your point. It's actually possible. It's actually possible. So it's actually possible. So what happens is if you want to really do that, so I think I need to work on this better that we can get our actual value. So if you want to do that, you need to convert this. So remember that we passed in this parameter. So this parameter is supposed to assist us to be able to do what we intend doing here. So that means ouch, I need to change this to template literals, and then I need to add this. I need to do a dollar sign and then this. So then I now have to pass in my posts ID. So making it that each time I click, it is actually this particular one that is affected. So this is not you doing it manually now. This is whichever one you click now. This runs for that particular one. So this is how to make it dynamic the way you think you feel it should work instead of having to write the number here. So that's how that one works. But for some reasons, oh, okay, class name post body. For some reasons, this is not happening. So pardon me, I'm debugging on this thing. One five five get element. Sorry, it's not elements, it's elements. Is it? Let me just do a query selector instead to just keep my head. Query selector. Save my head the stress of. So let's try again this time around. I hope it works. Canary property, no. 156. My post title, query selector. Oh. You need to, when you're using query selector, you need to specify this thing. Sorry that is dragging though. So this works. All right. So I think we will need to debug this one some other time. If I come up with something. Yeah. So best I actually corrected that. So I think we'll handle this in the next class because this is a bit tricky and I didn't actually plan out for this. So we'll do this in the next class. But I want to introduce us to something else so that we can actually try out things. So let me go to so so when you're working with APIs, sometimes you don't know how or what it should look like. So let me move this over here. Okay. Okay. So Postman is is an environment where you can test out your APIs. So say for instance we wanted to check this same thing that we are doing inside our console. You just want to do it somewhere else so that you know what the user is expecting or not expecting. So give me a moment. So you know if it's working or it's not working. So this is what when you need to create an account with Postman and then think navigate to the workspaces. So this is what I will do. So I have the desktop version actually. So this is the desktop version. So let's just try something out. Um, so how do we use this? So let's get so let's try and get all the posts. So for you to use that platform, I'm coming now. So let me just copy this. For you to use Postman, you need to come over to KPIs. Okay, so you need to come under collections. So first things first, you need to just try out your hand. Create an account on Postman. Um, when you create an account, I think you should see either collections or something. So when you find collections, you need to either create a new collection. Yeah, create a new collection. So I have all these ones. These are things I've just tried out with. So when you come here now, so this is like a particular folder depending on whichever project or this thing that you're working on. You can actually keep your stuff more organized than this. So like this one now. So we have rooms, we have this, we have that. So I think it's based on the documentation that your back end person gives you. So for you to do that, for you to use it here now, you just need to create. So I right click and then I have add request. So like I told you, what happens is when you're doing a request in its basic form, it's just like fetch happening somewhere else. So in its basic form, it is a get request. So when I do this, I can choose to rename this to maybe IP code. So inside here now, remember I copied something. So this is the URL, and then we are doing a get request. So here now we have post, we have patch, we have puts, all of that. So it's still the same way you're doing it on your VS Code. So it's still the same way you're doing it on your VS Code. So for you to use this now, so since it's a get request, we're not passing. And this is our close. Okay. And this guy is there. So okay. So you need to put in the URL here. So this is more like fetch, and you passing in your URL. So when you do this now, so when you do this, a get request does not take in other variables. It does not take in input from the user. So you can just do it that way. Then you now come to this place that you have send and click on it. So My screen is just doing me. I can't. I'm not even seeing what I'm doing again. Sorry, guys. Ah, it's just acting funny today. So body. Okay, sorry, it's here. So this is all the posts. This should actually. Why is it just? I can't expand this. So for you, this is where you actually see all your results. So when you put in your URL and ensure that it is a GET request that you're trying to do. So if it's a GET request, you click on when you click on send, it brings out all the data that you need. Then you can know what you are expecting. You can then try to simulate it on your VS Code and see if that works for you. So say for instance, now we wanted to now create, so we wanted to now create a post. So this is it. This is creating posts. So it still uses the same URL, but now you're making a post request. So that means we need to pass in values, actual values. So we need this title. So like I was saying, you need to know what your backend wants. So we have this title, we have this body, we have this user ID. So for us to do that, we need to come back to our Postman now. So since the URL is the same, we just need to change this to what? To a post. Now when we do that, we have to come to body now. So inside body, we now have form data. I need to bring this down. So like I was saying, you need to ensure that what your back end wants and what you're doing from the front end matches. So this is title here. So that means they need a title, they need a body, and then they need this user ID. So this is this is here now. So it's a key value pair. So I need to do title and then breakfast in the morning. And then I need to do a body, and then I say I enjoyed meal. And then if you so wish, if that user ID was available, we just say user ID, probably an ID of 4. So with this now, these are what we need to create a post. And then we now click on send. So coming back to body now. Wow. So what is returned to us is that, why is that? So we just get an ID. Should that be so? So this is just what we are getting. Maybe this should be JSON actually. So this is an ID, title, body. Yeah, this should work. Sorry, let me confirm something. Okay. Title, body, and then so they only give you an ID. Why is that so? Huh. Let me check there. So come back here. So creating this. So we have this title, body, this application JSON, which should actually work. But instead we're just getting an ID. Um, so let's see. So the thing is, it's actually created, but it's not giving us all the information that we want. So let me just try this a different way. So this is raw. So we need title, we need body. So let me just do this. Okay. Man. Sorry guys. I don't know what's going on here. I'm coming. Um so let's just do this. Let's do it something I'm at least sure of. So let's just see how this works out. I don't know why that is giving us this. So this is a test. This is like a documentation from a backend person. So he gives us the endpoints that we need. So for us to, let's say we want to create a user. So for us to be able to do that, we have this URL to create this user. And then we see that it needs this input. So we see that it needs this input. So we have so create a user. So I'm going to put this instead in place of what we already have. I need to figure out some of these things. So I'm putting this here, and it's a post request. So yeah. So this one requires a name, an age, and an address. So we need to make our inputs to also match what they already have. So name, address, and age. So best is 28 years, and his address is below. So let's just see what this gives us. So we need to click on send. Okay, so here now you can see when there's an error or when there's something wrong, you actually see if your documentation, if your backend person gives good documentation, you actually see what is asking for. So what they are saying is, I have name here, I have address, I have age, and it's saying it's a bad request. So let me try this somewhere else. I don't know this text. So let me see if this changes it. Because I actually put in the correct values and it's now saying it's a wrong listen. Let's see if this works out. Name, age, and address. Address of. So I need to try this out again. Okay, so this probably this is what the same thing that happened in the previous one. So this is what happens here. So we have form data. So I think there should be a setting where this accepts whatever you take from your inputs. So it's either between this and this. So if you try this one and this doesn't work out, you might need to have to try this other one to see if this works for you. Raw also works, but you need to format it properly so that this works. So so from here now, you can now see that this person has been created. User has this ID and display it on your front end so that maybe a modal pops up and says user created successfully and all. So this now is already stored in a database. So unlike the other one now, so let's go back to this documentation. So we've been able to create this user based on what is here. Then say for instance, we need to get all users now. So we now have to go to this URL, which is almost the same, and then add /all. So let's do that using our own URL. So I'll do a /all. And then I'll change this to a GET request since we are trying to get. So when I click on send, so there's John Doe, and then there's this other one. Wow, there. Okay. So see this last one that we just created now. It's showing up at the bottom here. So this is similar. It's just you can just try out things here. Try out, I think I need to try out the other one again. So you can just try out things here, and based on that, you now know how to do your fetch. So this place is more, it helps you to just understand what you're doing before you now go into your code and then start practicing it out. So you can check for some videos online to just brush you up on how to use Postman. I know I did not even really go in depth into this, so I need to try this thing out. This thing is, I don't know why it's just doing what I don't know. Sorry. So I get this. I'm getting all the posts, but I want to create a post, and I need I need to change my input here. Sorry, I'm just repeating this in again. I want to clear my. I want to understand what really happened here. So I need title. So a title of this, and I need a body. So I want to remove this address. Okay, so this is very funny. I thought that this was all working. So use this x www.form URL encoded. I think this one works. So you understand what is happening here. So does anybody have any question? I know this part is a bit tricky, but you just need to create an account and try something out yourself. So it's just you putting in the actual URL and just doing that stuff. Does anybody have questions? Hello? Does anybody have questions? Sorry, today's class just I had some issues, so it didn't come out as expected. That's why it's like this. Just go and try it. Maybe I'll give you a link to a video so that you just play around with Postman to understand it better. Then I think I'll do a better this thing for, yeah. So I'll do a better for that update. I'll I'll come up with something better, and then we'll look at it. So just then try your hands with posts, try your hands with fetch, try your hands with the assignments that I gave you guys. It's something that's, yeah, that you can do. So just try your hands with that. Then we'll come back for posts, we'll come back for delete. You get. So any question? Okay, so yeah, so that you guys will just go and take your time to understand what is happening. Yeah, so Ike, are you on this call? Okay. Chilo. Yeah, it's alright. Just then try your hand. I know today's class was just somehow, but yeah, let's just try out something. Sorry about that. It's not the best performance. All right. So in the absence of that, I think, yeah, this week, yes. So the thing is, APIs, working with APIs can be really tricky, and you actually need it. You need it for the final project because you're not just going to do what you did in the group project was just working, just you doing static pages and all of that. But now you need to know, you need to do real interact. You need to play with JavaScript basically. Yes, so JavaScript problem does not finish. So just tie your seatbelt well.
Hi, Ogo. What's up?
I don't think there's anybody. Yeah. Yes, yes, I
What's up?
did. So I wanted you to take over since we are done from here.
You guys are done. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well done. Okay. Hello once again, everyone. How was the class? I hope you guys had fun. Ogo, did you give out assignments?
They already have one.
Okay, that one where they scattered their head.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But it's okay, Sha. It's all good. Don't worry. Like everything will make more sense with time. So just keep up the good work that you guys are already doing. And assignment again, no assignment again. No worry. Just finish the one you have
It's
at
the
hand.
other one. It will. It's the other one. It will make sense. Best. No shouts too much.
Uh, no picture. All right. So you guys can enjoy the rest of your day. Well done. Thank you for coming to class and enjoy the rest of your day. And please submit your assignments on time. When is the deadline for submission? Uncle, please.
Hmm. Okay.
That should be that's it.
That's Saturday.
Yes, that
Yeah.
should be the same. So please let's
Mm-hmm.
submit our assignments on time. Don't worry, it can be hard,
Yeah.
but don't you can always figure it out. And then also remember you also need to know how to Google stuff. So if you get stuff, you can just Google it and you get the right answer that you need. But don't copy and paste code. You'll know if you copied and paste code. But just Google it and understand it before you submit. It's not about submitting, it's actually about understanding what you're submitting. So I know that we want to move to the next stage and all, but remember that the knowledge you're getting, you use it for a very long time. So if you take the shortcut now, what happens in the future? All right, guys, don't worry. After frowning face, you shall smile when you begin make money as software developer. Don't worry. All right, now enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Well done.